Hey, my name is Tiffany, and a couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that has given me only 44% lung capacity. Chill, I know that sounds scary, but this journey has brought me to you and has inspired me to start this platform called Living My Best Autoimmune Life. This part of the project is an interview series where I share the stories of people also living with an autoimmune disease to show you that despite our diagnosis, we are still living our best lives. Okay, I'm done with the intro. Enjoy the episode, and I'll see you in the comments. Hello, beautiful people. It is your girl, Tiffany Thompson, and I'm welcoming you back to our third episode of Living My Best Autoimmune Life. Today, I have a longtime friend, an obsession of mine, and she's here in person. I have Aiesha Robinson with us today. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. And it's been like how many years since I first interviewed you on What's Up Montreal?
I think that was in 2015, 2016. Isn't that crazy?
11 years ago.
Time flies. And it's almost like a full circle moment because here we are back. You interviewing me, but on your own podcast. Yeah. So that's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you. And thanks for being here.
Of course.
So I already kind of know you. I need my audience to get to know you a bit more. So can you introduce yourself? Tell us about your background, what you do, and whatever else you're comfortable sharing.
Okay, so who am I? I don't know why I always get nervous with this question. I'm like, who am I? So my name is Aiesha Robinson. I'm from Montreal, Quebec, and I guess I'm known as the founder of Born to Rise, a model, but like I like to say that I'm retired. I don't really do it anymore. I focus now on teen coaching and public speaking in schools, sharing messages about self-love and confidence. And I also recently started working in the health field. So that's something new. And that's me in like the professional term, and then me as Aiesha, I'm like a Real Housewives lover. I'm a basketball lover. I like to watch. I play. Yeah, I still play. And yeah, I like to laugh a lot.
Yeah, you're always smiling. You're always having a great time. Love to see it. And I really admire that you always pursue your passions and you share that with us. So like we can take so much inspiration from that. So like I've always loved your soul and your energy, and I'm really grateful to have you here today.
Thank you.
Something that I've noticed on your Instagram lately is that you're sharing a lot of affirmations and daily prayers, and you're really connecting and getting closer to God. So that's why I wanted to do this activity with you today. What we're going to be doing is that these are just a bunch of stickers with different scriptures, and we are going to be decorating prayer boxes. So yeah, I really love this activity because both of us are working on our relationship to God. And these are like great scriptures we're going to have on these boxes. And throughout the year, you can use this box to maybe write out prayers that have been answered or prayers that are in the process of being answered. And then you'll have a safe space for those prayers with scriptures surrounding the box.
I don't know why I feel like I'm getting emotional. This is actually really cool. And then because on New Year's Eve, I did a prayer wall, and it didn't come out the greatest because I was trying to use the glue gun and it wasn't sticking, so it didn't really turn out to be the greatest. So now that I have those prayers, I can like take it from there and use this box. So thank you for thinking of this.
Of course, I think like everything is so aligned, and I think like this is going to help us manifest like all the goals that we have and bring us even closer to God.
Yes.
And I know it's a sensitive topic because we all have our independent walks with getting closer to God. But this is just going to lead us. It's going to continue to lead us in the right direction.
Love that.
So we're going to get into the questions now. So it's a conversation. We can like try to multitask. Okay, so we both struggle with like doing multiple things at the same time. But we're going to choose whichever sticker like sticks out to us, put it on our boxes, and we'll read it at the end.
Okay, I love that. So it's like whichever one we choose is the one that it's supposed to be for us, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Let's start with this one. So while we chat, what is the autoimmune disease that you are thriving with?
Ooh, thriving. Okay. What I have is called vitiligo.
Okay.
And I was diagnosed with it. I'm so bad at math, but when I was 18. And today I'm 35. So do the math, guys.
I can't do the math for y'all. So.
And so I've been living with it. It's basically an autoimmune condition where there's a miscommunication happening within my body that's telling it to eat away at my melanin, and it causes the white spots that you see on my hands, my eyes. I have it on my elbows, on my feet, and as of recently, I'm finding spots underneath my bosom.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since you were 18, so prior to that, you didn't have any autoimmune conditions, or like everything was health-wise everything was like pretty going well. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, one day you wake up, and like, what were the first signs that you knew that something was different?
So it was my first year. Was my first or my second year of college, and I noticed a small white spot on my right thumb. Mm-hmm. And I had an idea as to what it was because I have a friend that has vitiligo herself.
Okay.
And my grandfather has vitiligo as well. But the thing is, with my grandfather, rest in peace, he had told us that the reason for his depigmentation was due to a work accident. So I always thought like it was an acid spill. I didn't know it was vitiligo. And then one day when I noticed the spot, I ignored it, and I was like, okay, you know when you scratch yourself and like you get a scab?
Yeah.
And then your skin goes
so
back.
small. You're like,
exactly.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, like whatever, like my skin's gonna come back. And then maybe after like 2 months, it didn't come back. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna reach out to my friend that has vitiligo herself and see what she thinks. So we were at school at Dawson at the time, and I took her to the bathroom, and I'm like, hey, look, I have this white spot. What do you think it is? And she looked at it and she said, Aiesha, you have vitiligo. And right then and there, I kid you not, like I fell to my knees and I started bawling my eyes out because like my life flashed before me where I was like, okay, I'm going to be constantly judged. People are going to make fun of me. I'm going to turn all white. And the significance of her telling me is that she was somebody of lighter complexion that struggled so much with vitiligo, and you could barely see it. So I'm like, okay, what does that mean for me of darker complexion when it's so visible, you know?
Yeah.
And from then, like my mental health just kind of went downhill. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that story and for being so vulnerable. And when you say like your mental health crashed from then, like what does that entail?
So right away, the first thing that I did, as I mentioned, was my thought process went to the judgment of that I was going to receive. And this comes from a place of, I only realized this after my self-work journey, that I was insecure prior to having vitiligo. And when I was diagnosed with it, my number one fear was, would people like me? Would people accept me? And right away, at the time that I was diagnosed, there was no Winnie Harlow. There wasn't anybody that was out there with vitiligo that was wearing it, you know, proudly. Of course, they're saying that Michael Jackson had it and he did the reverse treatment. But even at that, there was nobody that was proudly accepting of having vitiligo. And when I would like search it online, all I'm seeing is like people in Africa being shunned from their communities and, you know, people dying because they have vitiligo and their community doesn't accept them. So it's like, what does this mean for me? Like, what does my future look like having this? Would I ever get a boyfriend? Would I ever, be loved? Would my friends still be my friends? All these questions went through my head. And at the same time, it started spreading. So my mom took me to the hospital to see a dermatologist. And I think that's when I was like, okay, this is my life, because the dermatologist, literally, it was a 5-minute consultation.
Yeah.
Like, we sat down and she's like, yeah, you have vitiligo. So she's like, go. She's like, there's nothing you could do. You could take, there's no cure. She's like, you could do some cream. It might work, it might not. And that was it. So I felt like so hopeless. And I was like, okay. And she prescribed me cream and I don't remember what it's called, but I started using it. It wasn't working. And then I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm going to go all white and I'm going to lose all my friends and no one's going to love me. And
Oh, no.
yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm taking all of this in and I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. And at that moment, it's like, you're 18, you're still like a baby. And
going to the club, dating.
Yeah, like so many things are changing at that moment in our lives. And like to be faced with this was difficult. And then I'm thinking back to when we first met and how you were saying affirmations in the mirror. And what was it that took you from that place of feeling so crushed to now being such a spokesperson for affirmations and being confident with yourself? Like, what was it that really
so how vulnerable can I get on this?
As vulnerable as you are comfortable with.
So one time there was an incident that happened where I went to a party. It was the weekend after party and I was with my girlfriends. And well, actually, let me take you back. So I just shared with you what was going on inside, like what my thought process was. But the confirmation with these thought process was the judgment that I was actually receiving. So I would go, and this actually happened to me like last month. I went to a restaurant. You were there today. And me and this other guy that has vitiligo himself were sitting there minding our own business when this random guy, the whole time we were there, he was just staring at us. And then before he left, he came up to us and he was like, you know, you look the way you do because you're cursed. And then he walked off. So I was like, oh, okay. That was one incident that happened. And this doesn't even like equate, like I dropped out of college because of it, because I didn't want to, what's that word? I'm blanking right now. Commute.
Oh, okay.
On public transportation because of the stares that I would receive. People would constantly stare, make rude remarks, give me the dirtiest looks, like I did not belong. Simple task of grocery shopping would be hard because there are some people that love to share their opinion when no one has. So people would stop me literally and be like, you know, there's a cure in Cuba. That's the famous one. And everyone that has vitiligo, they know about this. You mention that and everyone laughs because they're like, yep, we heard that one. Where they'd be like, you should go and get the cure in Cuba because you shouldn't be walking around looking the way that you do. Or like on my birthday, I was at McDonald's and this kid, she was like 5 years old. She saw me and we made eye contact. And then she's like, Mommy, look, a monster, a monster. And she started bawling her eyes out. And at that time, I don't even think I didn't even wait for my food. I placed my order and everything, but like I was just so embarrassed because now everyone's staring at me. And I just ran out crying my eyes out. And I was like, this is what my life is. So those little encounters led to like my mental health, as I mentioned earlier, crashing, taking a toll. And this specific incident where I was like, okay, enough is enough, was when I went to a party. It was at the weekend after party or whatever. And I went to the bathroom, and outside the bathroom, like before going in, it was his entourage. And they were talking, they're like, yo, there's too many people in this hotel. We need to kick people out. So like, okay, let's kick out all the ugly people. And then obviously I walk out the bathroom at the same time and they're like, hey,